Hi, it's Brenda from Your Way Crafting. How are you doing today? I want to welcome all my existing subscribers and my new subscribers as well. Thank you very much for being here. First, I want to read from the Word, Psalms 34 and 7. The angel of the Lord encamps all around those who fear him and delivers them. Open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. That's from Psalms 145 and 16. So for me, open your hands is like opening and just giving praise to the Lord. This is a different kind of video. There's going to probably be a lot of stop and goes in this video. It's going to be the hardest video I will ever do, but I feel that God has nudged me and put it on my heart to share with you why I craft. I've always crafted, but lately it's all I do. I'm going to explain why. In the meantime, this 12 by 12 paper, I've been watching Paper Inspiration. I'm going to post her link in the comment below, using 12 by 12 sheets. And she does an amazing job, and I love what she does with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to craft, and I'm going to talk, and I'm going to share some things, and I'm going to stop, dry my tears, and continue. I feel that this video may not be for everybody, and I understand that. I get that, but I want to talk to you about my year of 2020, which was not a good year. It started off in January. I almost lost my mom. She was pretty sick, and we had to call the family because the doctor told us to contact our family members. So they all came up, and thank God she pulled through, and she's still here today, thank the Lord. I'm going to backtrack there for a second. I'm a Christian, and I have been since 2009. I haven't always been a Christian. I didn't believe God. I didn't believe I wanted nothing to do with God or anything of the sort. And till one day I humbled myself due to a whole stream of things, but this is not what this video is about. This video is talking about strength, I guess, perseverance. Keep going strong no matter what is being thrown at you. So like I said, I almost lost my mom. A lot of prayers, but they've come answered. I have two children. I have a daughter and I have a son. My daughter is married and she has two children. Two beautiful, amazing children. And if you're a grandma, you'll understand what I say when I say your grandkids are the best. Should have had them first. But in seriousness, and I have a son who's not married and does not have any children. My daughter will be 30. Ooh, honey, you're getting old. She's going to be 36 in March, next month. My son, 33. March 23rd, my world ended. I had a knock on the door. 10 o'clock at night. It was two police officers to come and tell me my son had passed. It'll be a year. March 23rd. I relive this moment almost every day of my life. Because as a parent, we go through a child's first. The first smile. The first time you get to hold your child. Their first steps. Their first words. Their first fall downs. Their first birthday. Their first graduation. The list is endless of the first that we go through with our children. But when that child dies, we have a whole new set of firsts. We have our first birthday without them. We have our first morning without them. I'm coming on to the first year anniversary of my son's death. There's a whole new set of firsts that are rarely even talked about, that are even rarely explained. Sorry. In the Bible, it talks about when a husband loses a spouse or a wife, they're a widow or a widower. When a child loses a parent, they're an orphan. But I've yet read anything about what a parent goes through, or if there's even a name for it when that parent loses a child. I've had people in our family that passed away, like my grandfather and my grandmother, aunts and uncles, but this is a whole new, different kind of pain. Whether that child is newborn and didn't make it, or whether they're 50 and they pass. Losing a child loses a part of you. This is my little memory box for my son, and I keep very close. I don't worship it or anything. Sorry, it's a little blurry. But I keep things in here that are very dear to me. My daughter, myself, my mom, my church family, we've prayed for my son. We prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And there are times that I felt like giving up because my prayers weren't being answered. My son had... My son died of a drug overdose. I wrestled with the fact, why bother praying? You're going to take him anyways. And I prayed. My mom has given him books to read. He got in trouble, he got incarcerated. Due to COVID, they let him out early. I prayed and I prayed. And one of my prayers, because I felt so exhausted from praying, and I said, God, if you have to take my son, please let him humble himself to you first. Because I didn't know what else to pray. We've tried to get him into rehab, and he wouldn't go. I got angry with God for taking my son, not knowing whether or not he humbled himself. It's a struggle that he had, and I know that I am leaving myself wide open and vulnerable, but I believe in my heart that God has asked me to share, because sometimes our prayers are not answered. But in the Bible it says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Yes, I get it. It's a matter of choice. Whether or not you want to serve the Lord, or whether or not you want to whatever, do whatever your heart desires. But we still continue to pray. Sorry. And this verse, and it's funny because this verse really hits home that I have here. And that when my son passed, a couple of months later, the police had sent me his belongings, some of his belongings that he had on him when he passed away. While praying, when I got that news from the police that he was gone, I can't even explain the pain, the feeling that just came over me. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't think, I had a hard time dialing my phone to call my daughter, because right away they asked me if I was alone. I said, yeah, I live alone. And they asked if I could have somebody come, and I said, my daughter. So I started shaking right away. I was shaking so bad I kept dropping my phone. So the police officer had to dial the number for me, and then I talked to my daughter and she came over right away. But it felt like everything stopped. Everything. The prayers no longer need to be said. So fast forward a couple months, I finally received his bag that they asked me if I wanted. So going through his stuff was really hard. And I came across the Daily Bread, and I guess they give to the inmates. And going through it, it was like God answered my prayers, because in different spots he talked about, I don't know if you can see it, church finally. So that really sparked something inside of me, because I've been so angry. Why won't you give me an answer? Why won't you answer me, God? Why? I continued reading right here. started reading the Bible. It's March 15th, a Tuesday. Before he passed. So to me, in my heart, God answered my prayer. So that little thread of hope is all I have to hold on to. And I hold on to that for dear life. Then my daughter got sick. And she was diagnosed with cancer. And I lost it. I lost my ability to think, my ability to do anything, to comprehend anything. So in the meantime, I started crafting, and I came across a junk journal, and I was like, you know what, I can do this. So I journal because I have to keep my mind from going to that dark place in my life where it's just built up of anger again, and why? Sometimes we don't always get an answer right away, or we may never get an answer at all. I was so angry at God, I even said, this is why I didn't want to serve you, because you don't hear my prayers, you don't hear nothing. And God feels our pain no matter what people think. He hurts when we hurt. He cares about what we care about. And I thought at times, for my own embarrassment, because I had a hard time telling people why he died. I was embarrassed. But it's not about me. It's about my son. My son had a problem. And I have to admit it. I have to yank my head out of the sand. Sorry, I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. I'm just cutting a thin piece off here. So anyways, we go through things in life. We all go through things in life. There's no escaping it. But I know that I have God on my side when I go through these things. I think my world would be a lot worse without him. In fact, I know it would. There's a thing in my heart that I really believe that I'm going to go through these things anyways, and he allows these things to happen. But I'd rather go through these things with him than without him. I just hope that even though you pray and you're not getting anywhere, and you feel like your prayers are not being answered, and you're probably right, they probably are not being answered right at the moment that you request, but everything is all in God's timing. You could go ahead of the game and try as you may, but it may never happen, because sometimes it may be a no, sometimes it may be not yet, and sometimes maybe it is a yes. We don't know. I've held this anger towards God for almost a year now, and if I could even reach one person, then to me it's worth bearing my soul, kind of being transparent, or however. I craft because it helps me to keep my mind occupied, to keep from going to that dark place, as I said. I have to, because otherwise I'd be in my bed and I won't come out of it. And that's not healthy either. We have to grieve and find somebody that will help you through that process. Sometimes, you may find support from where you never expected to get support from. It's hard every day of my life. It's hard. Your friends may not understand, or they may not support you. Family members may not understand, and you won't get the support from a family member. It might be a total stranger that says, you know what, I understand. And it's like a whole new release, because finally somebody understands. Just a little side note I forgot to mention. There was a time My brother and his wife, they come and picked me up, and I went down to their place and stayed by myself. I live alone here, but it's not the same because there is too many distractions. And I went down there and I stayed in a camper, and I would just cry out to God, and I would cry out to God. I would reach out my hand, somebody please take my hand, and nobody was grabbing my hand, and I felt like Peter, and I was sinking in that water. But Jesus was standing there holding out his hand, and all we have to do is reach out. I had reached out to some people in my church, and nobody was there for me. Oh, I felt like I was on this walk by myself. And sometimes we have to go through things alone so that we can be dependent on God and not on man. Sometimes we, don't get me wrong, we do need support. And please don't take it that's what I'm saying, that we don't, because we do. But there are times that sometimes God is requiring us to be so totally dependent on him to help us through it. And when I was at my brother's, and when I was reaching out to so many different people, and they weren't holding my hand, I felt that even God had abandoned me. Because the emptiness that you feel inside is more than you can bear sometimes. Okay, sorry. We go through a grieving process, and you have to go through a grieving process, because when you don't, that's dangerous too. Tyler's the first of the immediate family. I have 7 other brothers and sisters, and I have a stepsister and 2 stepbrothers. We have a bunch of nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews. My brother lost a son 35 years ago after he was born. So he understands that emptiness. But we've never lost anybody since until last year when my son passed. But I want to reassure you, there is hope. There is hope. It may not come when we think it should come. Sometimes it comes in the middle of the night. There's that peace that overpowers us. I had to forgive a lot of people in Tyler's life, the drug dealers, the people that he was partying with and whatever. I had to forgive them. I didn't forgive them to release them. Sorry, that's not correct. I didn't forgive them so that they can have, how can I word this? That lets them off the hook. Or however, I'm not sure how to put that. I forgave them to release myself, because when I hold that anger inside of me, I have that, I'm keeping myself in bondage, where every day I wake up and I'm angry again because my son is not here anymore. You get a constant reminder when you go to open the door and close the door. You see the back of your child's head, because that'll be the last time you get to see that child. So don't give up hope and continue to pray. It might not be the answer that we want. It certainly wasn't the answer I was looking for when I was praying for my son, but he assured me. Just from those few little words, I started reading my Bible today, and I'm going to hold that for the rest of my life. Sorry. I'm not doing this video to get pity, to get followers. I'm doing this video because God asked me to let other people know that there's hope. And this is why I craft. I watch other people, I learn from them, and I do YouTube. I got called a bottom feeder the other day, and that's okay, because I'm still being fed. I'm still learning but I'm going to take the most out of those nutrients that are sunk to the bottom, and I'm going to make the best out of it. So yes, I start my video. I said I was going to craft, and here I am crying instead. I start my video by reading the word, because I need to be reminded every day that God loves me no matter what, just like he loves you. I don't know where it says it in the Bible, I don't know, but apparently we're his favorite. But I read the scripture, for your sake, and for mine. I'm sorry it's not the regular kind of crafting that people are expecting, but I just want people to understand a little bit about me, I guess. I'm not the best crafter in the world, but I try. I don't have a lot of followers, and that's okay too. I'm not looking for praise. I'm not looking for 20,000 followers. And if nobody sees it, then it's in the bank for me to remind myself later. And that's okay too. But I appreciate you listening while I bare my soul. Please hold on tight when you feel that you feel like giving up, or you feel that there's no more hope. Just hold on a little tighter and hold on a little longer, because it's just around the corner, that breakthrough, when it's the hardest to get through. That breakthrough is right there, and that's why it's getting harder and harder and harder. But don't give up. Please don't give up. I love you. I appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you. I have a Facebook group. It's just a teeny tiny Facebook group, and that's okay. And I'm doing a prayer, making a prayer journal for myself. And I have a few people that are going to be doing it as well, which is totally awesome. So I need to do this for myself. And I have a few people that are doing it and helping to support me through it too. And they are so awesome, and they're the best. And I want to thank each and every one from the bottom of my heart. God bless, and I'm sorry it's not the video that people are expecting, but it's what I have to give right now.